Well, welcome back, everyone, to another iteration of our IT Mythbusters series. We're excited to have you joining us today. It's been a little while, but we're ready to get back into it today. So I am Mike Fulton. I am one of your two Mythbusters. I'm here with Suresh GP, who will introduce himself in just a second. But if the IT Mythbusters series is new to you, we will pick a topic and then Suresh and I will do a little bit of debate, conversation, discussion, and figure out whether which side of the argument we come down on and what myth, whether the myth has been proven or whether it's been busted based on our conversation. So if this is your first time with us, be sure and go back to some of the older episodes. We've been doing this for a little while and have a number of episodes that we've done in the past with all sorts of fun topics. So how are you doing today, Suresh?
Hey, thanks, Mike. Thanks everyone for joining us. This is our 11th episode of IT Mythbusters. So
11, wow.
We have been in hibernation for a while, but it's good to come back and get this started off. And I can't wait to see what we are in store for our 11th episode of IT Mythbusters. So any guesses? Where do you get kind of kickstart today?
Well, you know what? I think probably the first thing we should talk a little bit about, Suresh, is since you and I last did one of these sessions, I had a little bit of change personally, right?
Right.
So I have taken on a new job. I am now working for a company called Vernovis. Vernovis is a total talent solutions company. We do staffing, consulting, advisory work in IT strategy, technology, and cybersecurity. And we're based in the Midwest, headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio. I work out of Columbus branch. And it's a big change for me. I am now moving into a business unit leadership role. I am heading up the consulting and advisory business unit for Vernovis with P&L responsibilities. But I also have the CIO title. So I get to keep one foot back in the IT world, which is also very exciting for me. So it's been a good change. I've been there doing this for about 9 months, which is part of why we've been a little bit in hibernation.
Awesome. So good luck, Mike. Knowing you for so many years, you have always wanted to do something different, something always going for that. And I'm sure that Vernovis will stand to gain a lot from your experience and expertise. And as you know, one of the series of IT Mythbusters was stemming from the Voice of CIO series. Because today, all the things that we're going to talk about in terms of IT is actually resonating a bell that what are the new changes? What are the new aspects that are governing tech industry and IT today? So we think the topic for the episode 11 would be the tech layoff and recession as a very important point. A lot of people have been impacted, particularly all the big companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, Accenture, you name it. I mean, a lot of people have been laid off. So are we into a recession? And what's your take on this whole tech layoff and recession? Do they go hand in hand together? Where did they all miss, considering that from COVID time to coming back to normalcy? What happened for all this to come out busting in 2023?
Yeah, this is such a fascinating conversation for me. Being now at a company that is all about talent,
right,
and helping people find the right talent for the situation their organization is in. This topic of tech layoffs hits near and dear to my heart. But then also being a P&L owner now, the idea of a recession and the economic impact on companies like ours, your company, my company, how do we navigate through these sorts of things? So I think we're going to have all sorts of fun in this topic. So how do you want to kick it off? Do you have some thoughts you want to get started with?
So I think one of the things I'm just thinking loud is that earlier there used to be a belief, Mike, when we used to work for places like HP, P&G, and whatnot. We used to think about big companies are far more stable enough, so you will have a job that is pretty intact, and you can kind of literally retire at the end of your period of work. But seems to be a kind of reverse swing that we now seem to be very paranoid about big companies around it. Is that kind of, I'm thinking that, is there a lot of flab in the whole system because of which people are trying to get rid of the flab as part of this whole layoff? Because we have not done proper cost dynamics in the time that we all grew up in terms of the profitable market. And now you are playing that thing. You would have better insights about profitability as well as the resource from a utilization perspective. How does it all play out? My guess is that there's a bit of flab in the system that people want to get rid of, and that you're using this as an opportunity to get this done.
So you think what I hear you saying is that companies might have gained a COVID-20,
Yeah.
kind of put a little weight on around the middle. I get that. I can see that. I actually do think that some of what we're seeing is absolutely COVID related. The first thing I would say, right, is that you have to peel back the onion a little bit from what you hear in the press.
Sure.
Right. What you hear in the press is, oh, tech is laying everybody off. There's no more jobs, blah, 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 blah. Right. But when you peel the onion back just a little bit, what you actually see is that it's not technology, it's not IT, it's
Sure.
really the high tech companies,
Right.
for one, that are really being impacted. And it's to a lot of the startup technology companies.
Sure.
Right. So it is very much companies that and I think it's two different things happening in those two companies.
Right.
Right. It's in the high tech world, companies that saw through COVID,
Right.
the world convert to everything being technology based.
Sure.
It's companies that saw massive migrations to cloud computing during that time window. And you really saw an unprecedented growth that would be near impossible for any organization to keep up with, much less an organization the size and scale of the big tech firms.
Sure.
Right. And so there was an inevitable slowing down that had to happen off of the 40 to 50% growth rates that some of these companies were seeing on big chunks of their business, like cloud platforms. Right.
Sure.
So I think there's been an inevitable slowing down a little bit. They're still growing very quickly.
Right.
But it's 25 to 30% rather than 40 to 50% now.
Right.
I think that's part of it. And then I think the other part of it really is that these companies really tried to hire ahead. Right. They saw all this growth. They were flush with cash. Yeah. They saw an opportunity to go out and try to grab talent off the market, and many times in competition with each other. Right. So Microsoft's hiring people from Facebook. Facebook's hiring people from Google. Google's hiring people from Amazon. It became this competitive impact on the market. They were all hiring people all over the place. And in fact, I actually heard of a few of these companies that were hiring people without anything for them to do to keep them away from their competition.
Sure.
Right. And so those companies now, when times get a little bit tight, need to resize the organization to fit what their current growth is. So I think that's what you're seeing in the high tech space. In the startup space, I think the issue is much more related to the recession.
Sure.
The cost of money is getting higher as inflation grows up, as interest rates go up.
Right.
People are becoming a little bit more risk adverse.
Right.
And so the venture funding that these startups relied on to accelerate their growth, to drive their hiring plans, is drying up.
Right.
And for many of these startups, they're people that don't necessarily have a lot of experience running businesses in some cases. And in most cases, they're people that don't have a lot of experience managing an organization through a recession,
Right.
because it's been a while
Right.
since the last one, right?
Excellent.
And so I think the startups are really challenged by this multiple forces that are coming in together and really impacting what they're able to do. And for the startups, all of their people are really devs, right? They're engineers, they're people building out their product. So that's the people they have to cut.
Sure.
So I think those are kind of the two major sets of layoffs that are happening. But when you read about it in the press, it sounds like it's all technology.
Right.
And it's really not. What we're seeing on the flip side in IT organizations is that IT organizations are really struggling to find people. They have a lot of open positions. They actually want to continue to hire and grow to keep up with their business demand. So the Fortune 500s, the mid-market organizations, even the smaller organizations are still trying to hire. Now, they've actually been a little bit more cautious because of all of the press, all of the noise about the layoffs. So they look at this and they say, well, should I really go hire right now with what's going on? That's really what we saw through the back half of 2022. Kind of the Q4, we saw a lot of organizations take a step back, put a pause, because they saw all of the announcements. And they were concerned about whether or not they'd be able to keep up. What we've seen in here in Q1 of 2023 is organizations have really leaned in. They're spending more money on IT. They're hiring more people. They're using more contractors. People are realizing that the work is still there to get done. They still have to drive their organizations. So I believe that, yes, maybe we are in a recession. Yes, there have been a lot of tech layoffs, but I believe that the industry as a whole, the technology industry as a whole, the IT industry as a whole, is actually incredibly strong right now. And most organizations are actually looking for great people versus looking to lay people off.
Awesome.
What do you think?
I think you summarize this neatly, and I give my perspective on this one. 2 cents on first on the startups. One of the craze is always about valuation, Mike. So every unicorn you see, how many of these unicorns are profitable today is a big question. So, which actually boils down to the part that people have actually been in a bubble to kind of increase the valuation, show it to the stocks and shareholders. But I think we are missing the whole point of creating value more to the customers and to the people that you serve to be long-standing. So the SVB bust that we saw about, the SVB bank that we saw about, is all about telling this whole thing. There's a lot of pressure in terms of funding flow and other stuff that's now kind of dried up because people are just not very sure about all these companies. You can fund in more money, but your fundamentals are not right. And you rightly said that if the startup companies do not know how to manage recession, they don't have strong resilience about the belief in the product and the value that they could create, they could actually go on a day out of place. So I think companies which are having the strong fundamentals in terms of the core pillars, in terms of driving digital transformations, are doing a lot more work. And I'm getting more work of consulting on site reliability engineering, DevOps, and transformation, because people are saying that we need to get this moving, right? People will just talk about recession and layoff. People don't have time to wait and hear for all this press news. I would probably go there and solve some more issues with my product and release new features. So I'm absolutely confident that the hiring is increasing in places of all over the world. IT has been in a far more demanding position than ever. because of the way that IT is driving business opportunities and business value. So I'm with you. So do you think from tech layoffs and recessions, I truly believe that IT is in a far more formidable position to stay and grow as we go into 2023 and beyond. So would you agree?
I would agree with that. I think this myth that we're in the middle of a recession, there's tech layoffs, I think it is truly a myth for the IT industry. Yes, the high tech industry has been through a bubble and is having layoffs, but the broader technology industry as a whole, to me, is better than ever and continues to grow and accelerate. And as you mentioned, your training business, your consulting transformation business, companies are investing
Right.
in continuing to build and grow their people and continue to drive transformation across IT. So I think we have to say that this myth is busted.
Yeah, and this is good news for people who are watching here. You all have a lot of jobs, there's a lot of work to be done. So be upbeat if you're part of IT, but also make sure that you're delivering business value, because the moment we stop thinking about value, then we'll be out of business. So just to be there, we have a great opportunity, but with great opportunity also comes great responsibility. So please make sure that you do due diligence to deliver utmost business value for clients. And that is our end of that episode number 11, where tech layoffs and recession are things that are busted, and we have great opportunity for IT to grow and prosper in the years to come. Yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining us today. It's been a pleasure as always, Suresh. I enjoy our chats and look forward to our next episode, where we'll talk about the latest and greatest craze in IT, ChatGPT.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And we look forward to seeing you in our 12th episode of the IT Mythbuster. Signing off from you, Suresh and Mike Fulton. Thank you very much.